Hi. Um, I have tried to record this on my dear sweet iPhone. Um, but she is really getting on my nerves. And by she, I mean my phone. Yes, my phone's a she. I've given it a gender. Anyways, so I wanted to. I know I mentioned it in a short, but a short doesn't go in depth of this movie, Obsession. Now, all right. So, Obsession, we have 4 key characters, technically a 5 and a 6 and a 7, but Ian, Sarah, was that me? Okay, yeah. Ian, Sarah, Nikki, Bear. Now, the last 2 are, quite frankly, the most important. We start off with Bear, a somber, passive, meek, weak man who is pouring his heart out, practicing pouring his heart out to a woman that works at a diner in their town, and his best friend Ian is there. Ian is a terrible friend. Why? Because he said that advice, what he said to that girl as practice, is terrible. Absolutely terrible. That's mostly because he has a sexual relationship with Nikki, but we don't know that yet. Anyways, the waitress is like, no, that was good. That was good. Ian's like, no, that was complete and total trash. Go back to work. So then she goes back to work, and they go to trivia night. No, scratch that. Bear goes back home, finds his dead cat. Poor Sandy. That cat was starving. She got into the pills, which my cats knock over things too, but it had to be like not on all the way, or just the top not on at all. And yeah, he throws her in the trash bag. I would have put her in the trash bag and then went to go bury her somewhere. But I wouldn't have just thrown her away in my house. Dead animal smell is horrible and very distinct. So yeah, like, ew, gross. Anyways, Nikki calls her after he has almost talked her up because he was on her Instagram stalking her, boo-hooing and crying, being sad, looking at his friend's Instagram because he has a crush on her. She called him and she's like, Bear, are you coming to trivia night? Because I got something to tell you. He's like, what? What is it? I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice. I'm trying to leave this dump. It's so depressing here. So she attempts to do that. And so they go to Bear makes it to trivia night. Ian does not want him to tell Nikki how he feels. He's like, why? Why can't I do it? So then he proceeds to do it. And well, he keeps getting interrupted at every twist and turn. He goes to, where does he go? He follows Nikki to the bar. Sarah walks up. Ian walks up. The bartender interrupts, asking like how she wants the drink, or if she wants to open or closed. I guess that means like the limit at the bar. And well. Ian, I know he came up there on purpose. Sarah just did it because why is everybody at the bar? Stupid. Anyways, Bear finally tells her that his poor cat Sandy passed away. She's like, oh, really, Bear? Give him a full frontal hug. It's like, I guess we should have known, the audience should have known that Sarah had a crush on him, which I understand why she would have a crush on him. I get why, but he was like, ugh. Like, look at Bear. He's like dirty, meek, mild, passive, weak. Like, ew, gross. Nothing, realistically speaking, you would actually want like in a dude, personally speaking. So he takes Nikki home after trivia night. So fun, because she did not want to go to a bar. She was sick of bar hopping. And she's like, Bear, I am a writer and I need to feel love in order to write it. And he's like, so romance? She's like, no, that's not the same thing. Hello? That's not the same thing, Bear. But you wouldn't know that because you've only lusted and never felt true love for anyone or anything. That's what I'm saying. That's not what Nikki said. So then He has stopped by the store before then and gotten the one Wishwillow. And instead of giving it to Nikki like he was supposed to and being a punk, he's like, I'm going to call Nikki a nickname she does not like. And she's like, excuse me, what did you say? And he's like, I said freaking Nikki. He's like, now, you know I hate that name. You know I do. He's like, all right, I'm sorry. She's like, do you like me, point blank, period? And he's like, yeah, as a friend. Bear. Stop it. So then she goes inside her home. He cracks the one Wishwillow, saying, I wish Nikki Freeman would love me more than anyone in the world. I don't think you really want that. So then she comes back out her house. Because it's two fighting for one spot. Comes back at the Bear's car and she's like, did you have something for me? He's like, meek, wild, and weak. No, I didn't have anything. No. So then some time passes, and by some time, I mean like that's when Bear's like fidgeting. Blah, blah, blah. She's like, I'll go to your place. She's like, I can't step inside. My dad, he's just like, what? Come to find out, she actually doesn't have a relationship with her dad. He's pretty much dead to her. So this statement is odd. Mostly because that's probably not the real Nikki making this statement. It's the wish Nikki. He takes her back to his place, which hasn't been cleaned. It looks grimy and dirty. At least if I went to my man's place, it wouldn't look like that whatsoever. So Bear's place looks grimy, dusty, dirty, and just disgusting. And so he goes, he's like, I'll sleep on the couch, you sleep in my bed, which I don't feel like she's ever been to his house before, because she makes a statement of it's bigger than your last place. So she hasn't been there. And then, so they kiss at one point. And the real Nikki is like, whoa. He's like, what? And Bear's like, I thought you wanted to. And she's like, yeah, I did, but I just had a panic attack. I know everybody's is different, but that's not a panic attack. And so the next day they go to work together, by the way. He's like, what's up? What happened last night? He's like, no, I think she was on like Molly or something. Which, why would you put out that like assumption that she did drugs? She was acting, I don't know how it works, but she was acting normal the whole entire night until she got to your place. Right. So then she goes home with Ian after that work shift. Ian takes her home because Nikki doesn't have a car. And, well, boy, it gets, after that point, that was the last normal-ish moment. Because Nikki shows back up to his place. And is like, I know you like me, Barrett. And she's like basically about us saying, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't force me to do anything. And, well, I know you like me. I've felt similar feelings since Christmas, since December. He's like, really? And like the punk he is, he eventually is like, you know what? Yeah, I do like you, Nikki. When he could have been honest when she was being normal before he ruined her life when he dropped her off at her house. But he didn't do that. So instead of doing that, no. So then we have this cute little montage. Boy. Don't be like Bear, okay? Just be honest. We have this cute montage. Keep in mind, this is labeled as a horror movie, so this is the only cute moment of the movie. Other than that, it's downhill from there. Well, now how it's downhill from there? Because we have a cute montage, and then we make it to the date where they go to a restaurant, a seemingly really nice restaurant. Ian calls Bear, and he's like, yo, bro, she's lying about her dad. He's in good health, all right? There's nothing wrong with him. Absolutely nothing wrong with him. He's been clocking in work every day. He's like, what? Yeah. Yeah. Bear hangs up the phone, goes back to the table. Is your dad really, does he really have cancer? And she's like, no. And she does that I know y'all seen it. She's like, no, no, no. And he's like, what? And then she's like, why does it matter? And he's like, well, it doesn't, although it should, because if someone says their dad is dying from cancer and then they lie about it, a little bit iffy, a little bit sketchy, not great at all. So then they go home. I can't even call it that because she's not aware. So it's gross. So gross. Bear's gross. This whole thing is gross. And then they go to work. Well, no. Nikki's off this time. Bear goes to work. Nikki has taped the door shut. She has also trimmed some of his hair in his sleep. And, well, by golly. Woo! It's really hitting the fan now because he realized she's kind of not well. Now he's aware. He goes to work. Sarah's working. I guess Ian's off today. No. He must be working in a different part. But Nikki has made him lunch. Catfish, if you will. Catfish sandwich because it's Sandy as his sandwich. Ha! Any sane person who is clean a little bit and has had an animal, a pet, or what have you, would recognize a dead animal smell. And the fact that she is like, he doesn't recognize it. And there's a bunch of pictures and there's a sticky note that says, what's the verdict? Cat. We don't mean the other cat. We mean meow. Sandy. R.I.P. And he's like, ew. And he comes to the realization. He's like, inside joke. And he throws it all up. And Sarah leans on him because she really wants to get into this art school. And it doesn't really work out for that one. She ends up getting to another one later, Luther. And we cut to the scene where Bear takes Ian home. He's like, why didn't you invite me to the party, the shindig? And he's like, I didn't want you and Nikki there because y'all are weird. This relationship is weird. All right. We were just having a sexual relationship 2 seconds ago. And now you mean tell me she is madly in love with you? Yeah, no, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. So they end up actually going because Nikki is like, no, this isn't. Well, which Nikki is like, no, this isn't fair. You wouldn't do that. I don't have to go. If you don't want me to go, you would just say that. So then they end up going to boys' night and there's a bunch of ladies around. So clearly it's not just the boys' night. It's everybody's night. And they play Jenga. I've never played Jenga. I get nervous about games where I have to balance things because I'm not good at balancing. So, and things really go haywire. And she has a poem about Hansel and Gretel because regular Nikki saw him as a brother. And that poem is trippy. She mentions a willow wish in the poem. And it's like, So she's aware. Right. She ends up, and then he gets a kiss the person next to you on your left. Well, you wouldn't believe who's on his left. It's Sarah. And even if she wasn't with Nikki right now, any regular girlfriend would be like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You get somebody else to do it. And that somebody else is me. But you're not doing that. So then, well, she comes over, pulls Sarah away from Bear, and leans in for a kiss like, yeah, no, everybody was like, what is going on? And then after that, she breaks a beer bottle. Like, she hits it multiple times on the table. Clearly, this is real Nikki trying to assert, like, dominance and tell them. Because she's like, it's not me. And then she breaks the beer bottle and then slams it into her face. And, oh, wow, gee whiz. And then eventually, after all the commotion, Ian and Bear take her to the hospital. I think she gets some stitches because when we see her in the next scene, you can see her eyes a little bit because it happened right here, which is a very sensitive area. I wear glasses, so I can imagine doing that to myself. I don't know how well that will work out for me personally. So then, after that, Bear realizes that maybe he's made a mistake. It's in between that scene and like another scene, but he tries to undo not undo it. Actually, he still wants the crazy. He just wants to edit it, which is crazy. Crazy. So at some point, Sarah invites him over. No. She's like, come out with me to the park at 2 a.m. Again, any regular girlfriend, wife, whatever, would be like, what are you doing going to hang out with a woman at 2 a.m.? That's not me. Or your mom. Like, what are you doing at 2 a.m. with her? Literally nothing. So then, you think everything's all fine and dandy. However, from the angle, you can tell something. What? Don't know. Something is about to happen. And, well, wish Nikki shows up like a track star with a brick. And she slams Sarah's face into it. Into the steering wheel. Oh my goodness. Woo, talk about a jump scare. And she's like, you did this. Okay? This is your fault. She massacres Sarah's face and body. She's like, you did this. So then she makes Bear go home, but Bear goes to Ian's and tells him to make a wish. Actually, he goes to the store, buys another one wish pillow, goes to Ian's and says, hey, can you undo this for me? And then, well, he's like, no. And then he says, I wish for $1 billion. Then he goes back later on to Ian and Nikki's place. Ian's like, oh, I got like $1 billion. Nikki shoots him automatically in the head. He's dead on sight. He tries to undo it by killing himself so that way he can get out of the repercussions of his actions. And then that doesn't work because she wishes on the willow. And well. Bear comes to, and now he's just as lucky in love as Nikki. Well, that doesn't work out too well because Bear took the pills. Bear didn't regurgitate them up quick enough. So now he is dying. Now he's dead. And now Wish Nikki is alone. Then she tries to off herself. That doesn't work because then regular Nikki comes to. And now all her friends are dead. And she. Oh, gee whiz. She now has to live with. She did this, but she didn't do it by her own accord. And thanks to Bear for not being honest from the jump. Because, well, now Nikki can't be like a regular writer. She can be a writer in prison. It's just, I don't know how well it's going to work because they may take her pens because they may count it as a weapon. Anyways, awful. Bear, awful. But the actress who played Nikki, great job. The guy who played Bear, great job. Girl who played Sarah, great job. Guy who played the terrible friend Ian, great job. And Curry Parker, great job. Everybody did a great job. Lighting, great. Lines, great. Movie wasn't as astronomically great as everyone was making it out to be, but it was still great nonetheless. Would highly recommend. So if you have a Peacock, it's on Peacock. And if not, then where I'm at, on Blu-ray, it was like $24. And for regular DVD, it was like $17. So if you want to watch it, then go right ahead. Go right ahead. If you don't really care for horror movies, like it's not your favorite genre, then you'll like this because it gives you a nice suspense in a way that is subtle, but you can feel the pressure rising in a nice way. So you'll enjoy the horror movie like calm and tense. It's not like constant jump scares. It's got substance. So anyways, Obsession would highly recommend, and it's on Peacock and it's on DVD.